All right.
Good morning, everybody. This is Katie Chuba from the Hartland Area Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for joining us today on May 26th for our Zoom at noon. We are doing these every Tuesday and Thursday, well, about every Tuesday and Thursday. We didn't do one last Thursday, but because of the holiday weekend, but we are doing these, we're going to try to do these every Tuesday and Thursday to bring industry experts and business leaders to you through this virtual world that we're living in to help businesses, our community, anyone that wants to gain some insight and knowledge about kind of what's going on in our community, what different businesses are doing and how they're handling, navigating through these, what I like to call crazy and weird times with COVID-19 as we experience this all together and navigate together. So today we have two wonderful guests to talk about technology, what you should and shouldn't be doing, what things to look out for, tips and tricks, and they're experts in their field and they can share best practices about working from home, what kind of things you should be looking out when using your technology, because it's a different animal as opposed to being in your office, or if you have IT, or sometimes they have more secure networks and things like that. But we have Jennifer McGovern from UTEC. So say hi, Jennifer.
Hey, everyone.
And we have Jeff Nelson from Bulldog IT Services.
Hello.
And both Jeff and Jennifer, though they're separate companies, they do collect. I've witnessed and I'm seeing on social media and things that they're sharing with us and our chamber members. They are collaborating on quite a few different projects. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for doing this Zoom at noon with the chamber. It's much appreciated. I appreciate you both. And so without further ado, I'd like to kind of start off, and I'm going to let them run with it. And before we do that, really quick, if you have a question, there is a Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to type in a question. I'll facilitate Jennifer and Jeff. Okay. And as you're going along sharing what your information, if someone has a question, if you're okay, I may kind of jump in and see if we can address that question as you're talking about that topic, or folks we can wait to the end and if you don't answer those questions, we can go through them at the end as well. So I'd love to make this a little conversational. Feel free to jump in. And so Jennifer from UTEC, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about UTEC. Tell us kind of what you guys are doing, and I'll kind of turn it over to you, okay?
Well, thank you, Katie, for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm really excited. Well, a little bit about myself. I work with UTEC, and UTEC is a technology company. I'd like to kind of paraphrase that UTEC pretty much provides businesses with everything with a blinking light and a power cord. Everything from hardware services, from computers, shredders, mail systems, copiers, printers, just really anything. And that's just kind of a brief caveat of what we do. We do a lot of different things. So really anything technology-wise that an office can utilize. And what I'm finding now, as far as how UTEC is helping businesses during this COVID time, and we're kind of transitioning from the crisis back, refocusing, going back to work, is that not only are we able to help companies assess what they currently are using, but to kind of retool things and retweak things. Even though there are a lot of people that are looking forward to and going back to work, there will still be people that are working remotely. So remote work still be predominant. So we're helping people with their strategizing as far as implementing the right devices, the right programs and different things, and we're helping companies with that. So it's kind of a pivoting of a mindset, and then doing the assessment, and then implementing all of the technology. So it's kind of what I'll be talking about today.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. I'm going to kind of put you and Jeff both on the spot. I kind of have a question. I mean, do you think as we come out of this, as we're all trying to be optimistic, well, at least I am, do you think that we're really going to see a shift of people working more remotely more now than ever, even when those offices open up? Because I mean, I understand you have different industries. You have retail, right? You have to go into the store and touch and feel and purchase. But for service industry, the chamber, maybe your industry where you can have a lot of sales calls, things like that. I mean, what are your guys' feel about? I mean, maybe this is a question for later, but I thought, gosh, let's just start off with it. Let's have conversation. What do you think? What do you think the future holds for working remotely?
I think we're already seeing people gearing towards that. I know personally we are as well, in particular with our help desk that we provide. They can work anywhere. So we're going to become more flexible, but we're already seeing an increase in demand or requests from our customers for increased VPN licensing so people can connect securely from home. I think that it's going to become the new normal, however you want to say it, is going to be just that you're going to see a hybrid of people working from home and the office, maybe a couple days here, a couple days there.
I have to agree with Jeff. I've been following trends and having some extra time on my hands to do some research and different things. There's two main things that are going to really be a change. So technology has jumped with this COVID. It kind of pushed us into a position that technology and the innovators and the creators of these things, it happened very quickly. I think the span of time they said was 10 years. So we leaped 10 years ahead with virtual meetings, with the connectivity of devices and different things like that, and the collaboration of everything so that your work tools can communicate with each other and there's security and things of that nature. I agree with Jeff. I think there's going to, depending on the industry, there's going to be a portion of people that are going to be working still from home, whether it's part-time at home and part-time in the office, or they're going to work in the office but do things in a different way. I know from a sales aspect, there's a lot of different things that are out there as far as because you're not going to probably get that face-to-face with everybody right away. I think there's going to be a little apprehension with that. So the virtual meetings, there's video casting that you can do and attach to emails. There's a lot of wonderful strategies that still give you that personal touch so you can connect with that person, even though you can't shake their hand and see them. So those are the
challenge
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys' input on that. Yeah, I agree. And maybe we can dive into a little bit later to talk about security from home, because maybe everybody knows, maybe they don't, but is it true that you're less secure at home than you are per se in the office? So maybe we can talk about some of that later, as we move along in our conversation. So Jennifer, I know that you shared a PowerPoint with me. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can walk us through. It's just 5 slides. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to you and let you walk through this. So let me get set up, and I'm going to share screen with everybody. And Jennifer can walk us through this nice PowerPoint, this little presentation that she had. Get set up here. All right. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
So this is just a real simple summary of basically 3 concepts that are really striking home with the post COVID-19. We've like I said, we've already hit the triage as doing the emergency responder for technology, and now people are in a position where they're thinking longer term. So we're going to go ahead and go ahead to the next slide, and we'll take a look and see. So the first thing is a pivot of mindset, a pivot of assets, a pivot of the way we do business. And that's crucial, not only to survive through this transition, but also for the success of your business. And so a lot of companies I know that UTEC is working with, we're their trusted advisor. We go in and we help them with this. So identifying technology needs is crucial. Developing a post-COVID-19 plan is also very important. I know a lot of companies are examining that, and not only from a technology standpoint, but also utilizing technology for safety and security in the sense of personal protection items and different things, and checklists and QR scans and things of that nature. So those things all kind of intertwine. It not only provides security, easy accessibility, but there's a lot of things that technology is allowing us to do where we can still have that personal touch as far as visualizing, having the virtual meetings, having the virtual contact without any kind of concerns about contamination or exposure to any kind of viruses. And even though we're transitioning to there, I know that there's talk too that down the road that this could happen again. So a lot of companies are trying to get prepared now so that they can easily transition in the event that this would occur again. Of course, there's investment involved, but this is essential. It's not even so much as an assessment of, oh, the workflow and things like that. Those are byproducts of this, but it's essential. These are going to be essential tools for people to work remotely at home, to have security, to have connectivity, to be able to share information and to do their jobs and be productive. There's a lot of training and compliance and different things that are involved in that. These are all things that UTEC incorporates not only with the services that we provide, but the training and other things are also a benefit that you would get from us. And then the next slide we're going to go into is the assessment. So you've already changed your mindset, invited UTEC in for this. The other thing that companies are doing is evaluating each step of their technology, from cybersecurity, IT services, your telecommunication hardware, software, your copiers, or other well known as MFPs, your mail solutions. Cloud-based is going to be huge. I know a lot of companies already utilize that, but that's going to be a huge thing as far as data security and accessibility. Dropbox is another thing that is becoming more and more predominant and necessary. And of course, remote workstations. And the final step would be the implementation. So once the plan, the strategy, and the mindset are there, the assessment is done, then we can implement this technology. And this is an ongoing process. I mean, the initial implementation is one-stop shop. You're adding value to your business, the installation, the training. UTEC has a different mindset as far as a partnership. So there's quarterly reviews, communications, and if things need to be tweaked, there's additional trainings that need to be made, or you're finding that there are new focuses. That's what we're about. It's all about partnering, teaming, and making sure that the caveat of hardware, software, or other devices that you need, we can do that for you. And these are all important aspects in going back to work to make sure that everything is streamlined, because nobody wants to be left behind. And this is the perfect time to strategize and to get the information so that you can do all these steps and see what works best for your business, because things will never convert back to the way we used to do business. I do think that eventually down the road, people will have more person-to-person contact, but with being integrated with this new technology, I think people are going to embrace it more. They'll be more educated, more familiar, and it's a time saver. You can be in more places. I know we have a couple of customers that have expanded their business with using virtual meetings and some of these devices versus having to drive to Detroit and then Hartland and Howell, and they have clients in Traverse City and Grand Rapids. They're able to schedule these meetings back to back and do all of these different things. So we want to invest, want to be advocates for people, and these are the trends that I have seen, and that's my contact information. So if anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Jennifer. And I'll leave this on the screen for a little bit. And if anyone needs Jennifer's contact information, if I take it off here, please reach out to me and I would be happy to share it with you. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I guess a lot of businesses right now are not in the position to spend any money, right? They don't know. So they're kind of hanging on and seeing no income's coming in. Maybe they're kind of sitting on their hands before they invest in something like this. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are the 2 things that you would suggest to small business? I'm saying 10 employees or less, or maybe it's a sole proprietor. What 2 things can they do right now to help them with their technology strategy without spending any money? I know that in the ultimate world, we all want people to spend money with us, right? That's the way the economy works, right? But if they're waiting, and what 2 things can they do? Not necessarily what can they implement, but maybe what 2 things can they do as they think about their technology and what things to use to become more efficient?
Okay, that's a great question. And I also have an added answer to that. And I know the company that I work for, UTEC, we've taken that into consideration, and we want to help the community. We want to help businesses. So we have programs where we have deferred payment so that people can gain momentum. So even though they're making an investment and they're implementing these things, they won't have to pay for months down the road. So right now we're working on a 90-day deferred program. And this is for many of the different products that we offer. But as far as what is most important, these are pivotal things. It would really depend on the business, but from what I'm seeing from businesses is laptops and copiers, whether it be a smaller desktop copier that they can have at a remote workstation, or upgrading their copier with the multifunctional capabilities to have more security, connectivity with other devices and different things. And then we do have a product that's called an Aquas board, which is a whiteboard that is interactive. It's a touch screen. You can also work with bringing your own devices, which is also very helpful if you do have a small group of people. Nobody's touching anything but their device. So all of these things intertwine and are interconnected and have a real secure foundation. And these are the tools that they'll be using every day to connect and to share information.
Well, I think UTEC should maybe donate one of those whiteboards to the chamber, and we could give it a whirl with everybody. I can see like committee meetings, and it'd be great. Hey, you got to give me kudos for trying, right, Jennifer?
That's right.
Jeff.
That's right.
Thank you, Jennifer, so much. You're very knowledgeable, and I know that UTEC has plethora of services and products. So we appreciate you going through that. So Jeff, I want to kind of turn it over to you a little bit. What's going on at Bulldog? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Bulldog IT.
Okay.
Maybe some of kind of the things that you're doing to help businesses, what you're seeing in the trend as we're navigating here.
So we'll go right in. So Bulldog IT, I'm the sales and account manager or business development manager, whatever you want to call it. And essentially we act as an internal IT department for our customers. So we are a flat rate. You pay per device, per server, and you get a full 24/7 support team for IT. So we have our own internal help desk, and we have multiple field technicians and senior engineers. So essentially you get, like I said, a full staff for a fraction of price. So that's how we operate. But most importantly, the main thing that we like everybody to remember is that we're your internal IT department. So how that plays into today and where we're at with our customers and consulting with different people that aren't, we play a big advantage because people aren't in their office all the time and their IT isn't down the hall. We're a phone call away. So while we're on site at all of our customers whenever they need us, we're also available by phone or email whenever they need us. So in that respect, it doesn't really change. This environment hasn't really affected that. It has affected us being able to go on site if they're not allowing us to. But we haven't had too many situations like that. But what I do see is that trend where if you're going to have more people working from home, how does a company that has an internal IT department stage for that? So one of the common misconceptions, I'm sure Jennifer could attest, is that you can either have a Bulldog IT or a UTEC or an internal IT department, and that's not the case. There's sometimes where we're a supplement to the IT company or the IT department of one of our customers. Or there are times where we are it. Doesn't matter to us. We're there to serve either way. But I do see that business models such as ourselves will see an increase in demand for our services because we can provide that help desk 24/7. And even if your business isn't open 24/7, you're more than likely working past that. So how do you account for that? Because it's really hard. I mean, it's expensive to staff a single IT person, any employee, but I don't have to tell everybody that. They know that. So I see that our business models are going to increase, which is great. But also we've got to staff for it and we've got to plan for it. So that's what we've been working with our customers. A lot of them are coming back this week if they haven't already. But for the most part, we've been able to serve accordingly, just as we did before. And like I said, our help desk, our team, we've dispatched from home. So if they need to come out on site, no problem. We follow proper precautions. And with that, one of the other returning to normal, and this isn't really on my, Katie, do you want me to share my
Sure.
slide?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you disabled it.
Sorry.
But while you're getting that, because I don't have a slide for this, one of the things that I would say.
You should be good, Jeff.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I would say that you will see is, all right, Katie, are you guys seeing my slides here?
Nope.
All right. Hold on one second. Let me get it up. Slideshow. Interview. Okay. How about now?
I don't see anything. Jennifer, do you see it?
I don't.
All right. Well, technology's failing us already.
If
Hold
you
on.
have it, do you have two screens going, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm getting to the other one here. That better?
No, are you clicking on the Zoom thing on the bottom, share screen? The
Yep.
green.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, here, I'm going to keep going through this though.
I can share it. You did email it to me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not letting me. Yeah, I'm just going to end show. Here we go. But one of the things that I do want to talk about is the what will be happening here with on-site screening. And
Do you want me to share it, Jeff?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
So we have technology. We've been working with a vendor that will be allowing the facilities that are supposed to screen for temperature, do I can't remember what they were calling it, but as any kind of visitor, any kind of employee comes in, we have a tablet that'll allow them to scan for temperature, answer a questionnaire, also kind of helps keep track for the larger businesses of who's in your building, who they're visiting. But it also can tie into, it's scalable. So if you have an access control system, you can deny access if they fail to, if their temperature's down or their temperature's up. But the main purpose right now is it allows to do that questionnaire and make sure you're compliant with the new standards of what, is coming out right now. So whether it be COVID or God forbid another thing happen, but the point being that you can use that tablet, and also that tablet then doesn't require you to hire an additional person. So it's a virtual assistant essentially that got it right there. It's all secure. It's locked down. And you can, go about life without having to hire another person to just sit there and say, hey, were you out at this place? Or do you have a temperature? Have you felt sick? You don't have to waste that manpower. You can get a tablet that will allow you to do that. So again, that's something that if there's more questions on, we could do another Zoom call or a sidebar conversation.
So you're saying this tablet kind of just does everything, right? So you
Yeah.
take someone's temperature, but it's only one person touching the tablet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. And they're like data entry. They're entering the information as they're talking to the person that wants to come into the facility.
Mm-hmm.
Like a checkpoint. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, you can have it, again, it depends on how deep you want to go into it. But one of the primary things is without touching, you can scan temperature. So you don't have to do all that, over and over again.
Okay.
But that's just one of the things that could be as much as I'm sick of hearing this myself, the new normal.
Yeah.
it will be part of that. So one of the things that I've talked about over and over again would be there's going to be more accountability on the individual side. So if you're working from home or remotely, wherever you're at, it becomes more crucial to look at it and make sure that your virus or your antivirus is up to date, your malware is up to date, constantly performing these scans. These are challenges that any IT department is going to be facing. But we can do a quick network assessment. It doesn't cost anything. Show you how many devices you have touching your network at any given point in time. It's going to be more crucial for that to be up to date. So your company, your employees, wherever they're working, need to make sure that they are leaving their laptops on at night to perform these updates, these patch managements. These are things that we do. I'm sure UTEC does as well. But it's going to become, IT is an investment into your company anyway. It's your backbone. And with these changes and wherever anybody's working, it's more crucial for the security side than ever before, because you don't have that quote unquote controlled environment at your office all the time. So again, like I said, Windows management, making sure your window patches are, up to date, have been implemented. Again, it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of scheduling. We have some customers that they want these updates done only on Tuesday evenings. So we schedule it and run the updates, make sure that everything comes back, tests appropriately. Otherwise, we run them on a nightly basis. But we can control that environment with our customers because they know they need to leave machines on, or if they're working that night or whatever the time is for updates. All right, well, then we go accordingly, we schedule that time. It's also going to be really important for businesses to make sure you're updating any kind of software for web conferencing, in particular Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting, any of the software that you're using for anything, really. You need to make sure you're keeping them up to date. This includes phones. So if you're like my wife or a majority of my family, they don't listen to me apparently, but they don't update those. Your phone is probably quite possibly one of the most important tools that you use. I know it is for me. But you'll see, Apple pushes out updates and it says crucial security update. It means just that. And so it's going to be the same for your computers. Make sure you're doing those updates. As inconvenient as they might be, or you might have to log back in for something, do it, because they're looking out for themselves and you as well, to make sure that you've got those, especially when it comes to security. Evaluating your network. Jennifer touched on this, and I would say this is going to be one of the most crucial things as well. How are you accessing your data? Like I mentioned before, we have a lot of people that are, in particular in this manufacturing facility, and they all require, to be able to connect into their server to perform different functions of their job, whether they're on site or not. So we use a secure VPN, a virtual private network connection for them. So we create tunnels from their device to their server back wherever it is, and it happens to be on site. So they know, so when they all went home to work, they increased their licensing big time, probably by 150%. And with that, they thought, well, maybe we'll just, do this for the next couple of months or something like that. Now they're going to keep it because they know they can access that securely, just as if they were in the office. And it allows for the flexibility. So if you don't have a VPN or a secure connection, or you're not really sure, let's sidebar that. I'd be happy to walk you through it. But it would be a good time to also consider a cloud environment, like Jennifer had said. Your accessibility and security are what you're looking for there. So you can access it anywhere you have an internet connection, and you can do it securely. The other part that feeds right into my next point would be the redundancy of backup. So it's always an important investment for your company anyway to have a BDR, backup and disaster recovery plan. It's business continuity. What happens if something fails? Because technology fails. That's why Jennifer and I have a job. And so with a cloud environment, if you have that, you have more than likely 2 or 3 times redundancy within your cloud, meaning if that server fails, because all a cloud is a server and another data center. So if one server fails, you automatically have another one to back up. You experience 0 latency or maybe a little. And then if that one were to fail, you have a third one. So regardless of your network setup internally, and you might think, oh, well, I'm just a small business, I can operate off my desktop. I would argue otherwise. I would say you're probably even more crucial to look at this. And cost, there's so many different options. We have our own data center. We utilize multiple cloud vendors, Microsoft Office, Microsoft OneDrive. You might already have tools that you don't know that are available. Just ask. Whether you're a client or not, we're happy to be able to educate, let you know what we recommend. because utilizing the tools you already have is always one of our big things that we like to look for. Don't spend unless it's crucial. But cloud environment and backup and disaster recovery. Which the next slide, secure passwords. This shouldn't be anything new, but it is, I would say, more crucial now than ever. You're working from home, you might be using a computer that your kids use or other people in your household. It might be a work computer, great if it is, but if it's not, it's time to change your passwords multiple times throughout the year. I would recommend using a password management, which I'm hopping down to the last one, but I use 1Password. There's LastPass. There's a ton of them, but you have to remember 1Password, and then that gets you into a vault where you can list off all your usernames, all your passwords that go along with each one. You can set up a variety of different categories in there, but it's really important to pay attention to your passwords and how often you're changing them. Please don't use the same one for more than one. And the reason is you use the same email. Maybe you have 3 different ones like I do. Doesn't matter. All they have to do is get a hold of your username, and they being the hackers, and they feed them into software. And then they try out, if they use the same, 1, 2, 3, 4 password, they'll use that and they'll try out different variations of it. It's not like there's one hacker sitting there going, type. Oh, I got one. It's a machine that they feed. So the more secure, the more often you're changing your passwords. I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but it is really important, especially when you're working from home and you have, you're probably working on an unsecure network. So change them often, use a password management. And if you need help with how to set passwords, again, reach out. Compliance. So this is one, again, that Jennifer talked about. I've already talked about with scanning, temperature. That's a new type of compliance that our state might make us. I don't know if federal will or not, but the compliance I'm talking about on this slide is what your business compliance. So if you are required to meet HIPAA compliance in your office, you're required to meet HIPAA compliance at your house. PCI compliance, Department of Defense compliance, any of those, if you're required to at the office, you're required to at home. So this, again, like my slide says, this would involve a more in-depth conversation. But there are sites like PCIstandards.org that you can go to, you can Google. It gives you your list. And maybe you're an employee and you're like, I don't really care. Well, guess what? You have some accountability in it as well. If you're the business owner and you're not really sure, no problem. Totally understand. Compliance is a pain in the rear end because it's ever changing. But it's something that we excel at, and we're constantly having to make sure that we work with third-party vendors all the time for audits because we can't be expected to know every little detail, but we need to know who does. So we're happy to walk through that with anybody because, again, it's just as important as it is at your house as it is in your office. Okay, and this one, Katie, you had asked a good question at the end of Jennifer's presentation. What are some tools, things that don't require an investment, or if they do, it's very little? MFA, which stands for multi-factor authentication, would be one that we recommend all over. There's free apps for it. There, like Google Authenticator, Duo. My wife uses in the insurance industry. But the point being, there's a bunch of them, and they either don't cost anything, or if you use a certain vendor like a cloud program, I could give you a million different things. More than likely, they have this capability where they just have to turn it on and say, do you want to have multi-factor authentication? And what it does is when you sign in to the cloud, sign in to any kind of program, you'll get a text to your phone, you can get a phone call, you can get an email, and it gives you a code that you then have to enter. Hackers can get in one, but getting both of those is extra difficult. And it makes it almost impossible, although not quite. But it's an added layer of security. That multi-factor authentication more than likely costs nothing to add. If it does, it might cost, a couple dollars a month, or, it just depends on the level that you need. Use it, use it, use it, use it, use it. It's one extra step, and it's a pain. We've had customers that have taken it off as soon as we put it on. And then there was an email, a phishing scam that, we were able to stop. But in reviewing what went wrong, we said, hey, multi-factor would have stopped this immediately. Well, why don't we have it? Well, we have it here. You guys wanted it removed. No, that's not an option anymore. So we put it back in, and it's a great tool to use. It's really crazy not to use it. Same with the password management. Those are two tools that are very cost efficient, if not free. And I would utilize those all day long. It's a good step in the right direction. Sorry if I went on too long.
Oh my gosh, you're fine. And here's Jeff's contact information.
Right.
So again, I have this contact information if anybody needs it.
Yeah, Katie knows how to get a hold of me the quickest.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So, it's funny you talk. My mind's churning here. We talk about relatability, right? There's different size businesses, small, medium, large, and obviously IT is definitely, and technology is something that's customizable. There's so many products and so many options out there, so it's good to know. And I think, the chamber, we're a business, right? And we use technology and we use tools, and some of the things that you talked about, I was taking notes. You talked about the cloud network. We use the cloud network. We shifted over to the cloud network probably about 2.5 years ago. And I cannot tell you, it has made our life so much easier. Just the accessibility alone, the ability to communicate in the cloud has been a really good driving tool for us here at the chamber. And you talk about the backup part of it. During this past 60 days or so, I invested in an external drive. I just wanted something that, we're not going to spend tons of money out as a nonprofit out, having all these secure stuff on the cloud and backing all that up. So we have a couple external drives. So I guess my advice for like someone really small, say like the chamber, small business, doing that, the feeling of securability that it had for me was really good. I was able to clean out my hard drive on my laptop, was able to really take a look at the cloud and clean that up. Like, okay, we haven't touched something. And I mean, we transferred a lot of stuff to the cloud initially. We haven't touched these documents in 5-6 years. We open them. Oh my gosh, they're outdated, delete, or put on the hard drive.
Right.
So, and that's really affordable.
It is. And I would say with that, having a plan like that, even if it's just an external hard drive, great. Back up, unplug when you're done so it's not connected, and know that, Katie, I know that you're highly organized. So, going through those files and backing up the ones you want, keep in mind too that for each business, small or large, whatever, a backup plan is very customizable. And what you need to really assess there is how long can you afford to be down? So if you can afford to be down for a week or limping along, you're going to have a lot more options. If you don't, if you can only afford to be down a day, whatever, there's all sorts of different scalability. But what it comes down to is you have a data file backup like you're doing on that hard drive. So you're putting all of those files and you're throwing them on there. Or you can do onto the external hard drive. And then if you need to restore, you just pull them and then you sort back through them. Or you have a full image backup. where you take your workstation or your server, or whatever you're using, and you mirror that onto your server, cloud environment, whatever it is. So then if it fails, the device you're using, you take that mirrored image, place it right back on, and you're up and running, and your files are exactly how they were. So again, like, it gets to be really nitty gritty, and can't believe that I find this exciting now, but we do like it, and be happy to explain it to more people. But having a plan, Katie, like you said, even if it's an external hard drive, that's lets you sleep at night, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you talk about being down, like you said, how long can you afford to be down?
Right.
I can't afford to be down for a day. And
Yeah.
I would think that most people are like that, especially if you're,
Right.
we all navigate through a ton of emails and things like, I mean, we have our cell phone, maybe if the
Mhm.
laptop goes or whatever, but I really think it is important to, I mean, just the things that you both shared,
Mhm.
taking a look at your technology,
Yeah.
maybe reaching out to you to talk about, within your budget or affordability or whatever. Because I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that, Jeff. How long can you afford to be down?
Right.
And I guess my advice is like, it can happen. It has happened to me. It
Yep.
probably has happened to everyone listening.
Yep.
We've all been like, oh my gosh, my computer crashed. And
Yep.
we don't want that. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of talk about this stuff. It's so important, and we really need and do rely on technology. So to know that we have the two of you at our beck and call, you're just a
Mhm.
phone call away, and you both are wonderful and wonderful to deal with. I've dealt with both of you. So anyone that's listening that, wants to just call and have conversation, even just to connect and network, both Jennifer and Jeff are absolutely wonderful. So we do have a question coming in.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, so I'll read it aloud for everybody, and then I'll let you guys, whoever wants to take it on. Hello, my name is Brooke. I'm the program coordinator for Special Ministries of Livingston County. You suggested putting/scanning old documents to a hard drive. How far would you go? Like, how far would you go back?
Right. I know. Well, I'm trying to remember what it is for. Like I'll reference HIPAA compliance. I'll say is 8 to 10 years. If I
I
remember.
think it depends on your industry, right?
Right.
Right,
It does.
guys?
Yeah.
I mean, I know with, like, what do they say? Keep your tax documents for 7 years.
7 years.
So,
I would say, unless I would say keeping them for, 7 years would be as far back as I go until you find out that you don't have to do it, because it is industry specific, right, Jen?
it is.
So,
Jennifer, do you think it's industry specific?
Definitely. I think it depends on whether you're in the medical field or the content that you're dealing with.
right.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider. So.
Right.
Yeah, I will share with Brooke. We've really shifted more into technology, using technology, trying to be paperless at the chamber as much as possible, and relying on our backup and our cloud. But there is an archive of old documents that I hung on to, just for historical sake. And it's nice to refer back, like, gosh, how did they do this 10 years ago? I'm curious. Like, oh my gosh, I had such a great idea. And we can maybe take that, implement in an event or something like that. So again, for chamber industry, I would say there are some things that are like, oh gosh, we'll never do that again. It's kind of a judgment call, get rid of it. But if it's, like you said, legal, tax, medical, I'm sure there's certain regulations and protocols that you have to keep certain files. So,
Right.
does anyone else have any questions out there? Any questions? Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say for Brooke as well, with the amazing program that they do, I'm sure there are waivers that they have people fill out. So there could be some, you might have some HIPAA compliant information on there. If that's what you're speaking of, then I would say 10 years. If you're talking about any kind of PCI or like, any kind of, or credit card information, stuff like that, you have a different timeline, but I'd be happy to help, point you in the right direction there as well.
Okay. Someone just Julie typed in the chat, thanks for the great info. I'm sure everyone can see this. Jeff, as far as password management program, that seems risky to me. Guess I'm paranoid. Can hackers get in there and get everything? Oh, can I answer this?
Sure.
So Jeff introduced me to the 1Password, the password management, a few years ago when I met Jeff. It's on my cell phone. I only remember 1Password, and I have never had a problem. It is kind of my go-to, and I do have different passwords for different things. We use all kinds of different, online softwares and things like that, and we do change them. So for me, the experience has been good. So Jeff, do you have any?
I would say it'd be foolish for me to say that nothing is unhackable, right? Again, that's why I have a job. Jennifer has a job. But I would say that the standards that those password managements use, they hold themselves higher, so they're very highly secure. We have to use a password manager. It's not exactly what we call it. We call it our nerd Bible, a document management system that we have 2-factor authentication for that. We have, but it's the same concept. So in the background, how it's built, what's being used to protect are totally different than just, your normal everyday lax apps or anything like that. So I can give you more, I can find white papers, but the dangerous part of not using a password management is there's a lot of people that will use an Excel spreadsheet within their computer. Well, that doesn't do you any good if they hack your computer. Yes, you can encrypt it, or you can use, the password management uses encrypted software as well. Or you have the notebooks that everybody has, or the sticky notes. And then you have to worry about human error, somebody stealing those, or just, the big thing is just human error and losing them. So
Right.
It's harder to manage.
Yeah, for sure. Any other questions for anyone listening in? So thanks. That's your area of expertise. Trust you. Just was
Thanks,
curious.
Julie.
That was nice.
That was a good question. Legit question.
For sure. So but any last comments or anything, Jennifer, from you? Would you like to say any last words before we sign off? We've been going for almost an hour here, so.
I just am thankful, Katie, that you invited me to be a part of this, and I just feel very excited, and I know a lot of wonderful work with businesses in the community and stuff too. We just want to help people. So if people have questions about the transition with things with this COVID, with hardware, software, and implementing things, I'm more than happy to sit down with you and talk to you about what you're currently doing and what you see perspective in the future for your business, and how to keep you secure, working efficiently, and holding tight to those compliances so you can do your job more effectively and just focus on what you need to focus on, and that's your work. Let us work about the technology.
Yep.
Thank you, Jennifer. How about you, Jeff? Any closing remarks?
No, Katie, just thank you very much for hosting this, and Jennifer, thanks for letting me participate with you again. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I would say the same. If people have questions, most of my job, yes, I'm in sales, but 90% of that is just educating whoever I'm talking to on our area of expertise. And I thankfully have a ton of technicians to work with that I don't have to know all the details. It's probably better that I don't. I get the concepts, and if I can speak that to our customers, the end user, then that's my goal. So for questions, I spend all the time doing consultations, and if business comes out of it, great. But
Thanks,
more
Jeff.
importantly, we're just happy to help serve and educate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate both of you. Before we sign off, I want to give everybody a heads up. We have a couple Zooms that are coming up. This Thursday, we have at noon, of course, Zoom at noon. We have the Vice President of Communications and Marketing. Her name is Megan Holland, and she's from the Michigan Retailers Association. So not even if you're not a retailer, she's going to talk about some of the logistics of reopening and what that looks like, and from the state's perspective, as well as the Michigan Retailers Association perspective. So I talked to Megan. She's great. She's excited to be on the call. So if you can tune in, please register. I'm going to be sending out an email later on. Also, we have another one coming up next Tuesday, June 2nd, and we're actually going to be talking to our Crow-Main District Library Director, Mallory DeVilbus. You know, the library is a community resource with their online. They have concerts planned out on their lawn. They do all these community children's programs and things like that, and they have a plethora of business resources. So how are they handling it and how you can access it? So you can tune in June 2nd. So just thought I'd give you a heads up on some of the Zooms coming up. Thank you again, Jeff and Jennifer. Appreciate your time today. Hopefully you could be able to enjoy the sunshine. Thank you everybody for listening. If you have any questions, I can be reached on my cell phone, 248-514-6969. And I'm here to help. I'm here to help all businesses and anybody in the community. So I'll let you guys go. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye you guys.
Bye.
Bye.